recording. Hello, hello, ladies. Welcome. I'm so glad that every single one of you are here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you guys have the slides showing. Give me a quick thumbs up if you guys can see this. Yes, no, anybody? No? Are we seeing my slide presentation? Okay. Wait, I lost you guys. The chat. There we go. Thanks, Marcia. Okay, perfect. Super helpful. Beautiful. All right. Well, welcome, ladies. First off, I want to thank you for carving out the time to spend with me today. I know that your time is precious and I don't take it lightly that you decided to be here. So my number one goal is to deliver as much value as I can during our time together. So let's jump right in. First off, if you're here right now, you're probably like a lot of women that I work with every day. You've maybe built a career at some point in your life. Maybe you raised kids. Maybe you're still raising kids. Maybe you chose not to do the kid thing, but you built a business instead. Either way, you have shown up and you have probably been the one person that so many people in your life count on. You have discipline of a professional or a full-time mom, and you probably have the work ethic of someone who, doesn't quit. And yet, somewhere over the last few years or last couple decades, even something changed. You stepped out of the shower, you looked in the mirror, and you didn't recognize the body staring back. So maybe you tried what has worked in the past. Maybe you've tried cutting calories. Maybe you've increased cardio. Maybe you've tried intermittent fasting or whatever your neighbor is doing down the road, low carb, whatever it is. And you've probably done a lot of starting over again on Mondays. And here's the thing that I want you to hear first before anything else I teach you tonight. It is not you. You are not broken. You simply have the wrong formula for this phase of life, for this body. You didn't get lazy. You didn't lose your discipline. Your body is simply doing something that it's never done before. And the rules that you used to follow, they no longer apply to the body that you have today. And that's okay. And that's what I'm here to give you as a new formula. So here's what we're going to be doing in the next 90 minutes together. First, I'm going to be telling you why the old playbook stopped working for you. And then I'm going to be teaching you a new formula. And this isn't anything that's fancy and new age and you've never heard before. But these are 3 keys that I personally work with my clients on all day, every day. And these keys specifically multiply each other. They stack on top of each other. And then I'm going to be showing you real women who literally use this exact system. And at the end, I'm going to give you 2 paths forward, and you get to choose which path makes the most sense for you. What I will not be doing tonight is I'm not going to try to sell you on some quick fix program or that my program is the only thing out there to do or some snake oil BS that's just going to leave you frustrated and right back where you are. And I'm not going to be gatekeeping any of the information that I give to my one-on-one clients. So everything that you're going to learn tonight is everything that I teach them and work with them on. And then it's going to be up to you what you decide to do with it. Is that good with all of you? Drop a little thumbs up or yes, I'm excited. Something in the chat. Let me know. Let me know if that sounds good to you guys. Hopefully y'all are just as excited as I am. And like I said, feel free to ask questions along the way or just hold them till the very end. I love it. Amazing. Beautiful. Thanks, y'all. So before we dive in, just some quick context on why I am the one teaching this. I've got 18 years of coaching under my belt in person and online. I've worked with men, women, boys, girls, you name it, all ages, all brackets of life over the last 18 years. I have a bachelor's in kinesiology. I have many certifications from NASM to corrective exercise, nutrition, and I have a neurotype training certification, which you'll be learning more about when we talk about key number 1 here in a bit. I'm also a former bodybuilder and figure competitor who legitimately had to rebuild my entire playbook when my 40 plus body decided to stop responding to what it used to respond to. So I've spent years studying hormonal shifts in midlife and applying it to myself first and then to my clients. So this isn't theory for me. This is my life. I've lived it. So I promise I'm not over here preaching anything that I haven't personally experienced. All right, enough about me. Let's go ahead and dive in. But I want you guys to hear this, or I want you guys to see if you recognize or kind of connect with this. I hear this statement from women all the time. Claire, I'm doing everything right, but nothing is working. If you have ever thought that or said that, drop a me in the chat because I want you to know that you're not alone. If that is something that's ever been something you feel like, man, I feel like I'm trying to do all the things right, but nothing is working. This is such a common statement. I get this in my DMs, I text messages, you name it. Most every woman I work with currently and over for the have been for the last few years have said this, especially in the very beginning. If you're doing all the right things and none of the right results are showing up, I'll say it again. You're not broken. You're just using the wrong formula. So before we get into what the new formula is, it's super important that we talk about what the old formula is and why it doesn't work for you anymore. Okay. So you've basically probably been told for these 4 different stories. Maybe one of them connects with you, maybe all of them do. But the first is just cut more calories to drop weight. All right. You've probably heard that from plenty of people out there, right? Or reading places, whatever. I'm just going to make sure everybody is on mute. Okay. There we go. The second is you got to do more high intensity workouts. You got to do more cardio, more intensity. The third is you just need more discipline. You must be lazy. It's a you problem. And the fourth is, man, if I could just restart on Monday and actually stick to it, I'd get the results that I want. Every one of these stories is wrong, and every one of them is keeping you exactly where you are. So my goal by 8:30 night, 7:30, whatever your time zone you're in, is my goal for you is to walk out with a strength method that fits your body. No more chasing random workouts on social media or asking your neighbor what they do. A nutrition reset that actually has you eating more, not less, and the reason behind it. And a habit system that actually holds and it sticks when life gets messy. And a clear roadmap for the next 90 days. No more restarting on Mondays. My goal for you is I don't want you leaving with motivation. I want you leaving with a plan. Does that sound good to you guys? Thumbs up, chat, hellos, yes, like yes, I'm good. I would love it. I don't know about you guys, but the third one that I mentioned of like when life gets messy, having something that is solid and in place, life is always going to get messy. It just is a part of life. And so the idea that when the time is right, when things slow down, when I don't have this thing coming up, et cetera, so when the kids are out of the house, all of the things, those things are always going to exist. And my goal for you is to be able to teach you guys a method that will allow for life to happen without derailing everything else. All right. So a quick overview of the keys that we're going to be discussing tonight. And remember, these are the exact tools I use with my clients. And there's 3 keys, one system that's built for the body you have now. Key number 1 is what I call training DNA. And this is built on your unique brain chemistry. I have a short assessment that you can take, and you'll have a chance at the end tonight to get that assessment for yourself. And this determines your personality, it's called neurotype personality. And it determines the types of workouts and nutrition protocols that work best for your body. And it's paired with also working with your body at this stage of life. It's incredibly helpful. Key number 2 is the reverse first to reset. And this is a nutrition method that has my clients eating more, not less, and finally seeing their body respond again, or finally seeing their body respond. And this method is also very, very important because it allows the body to feel safe enough to move into a place of letting go and letting the fat the fat loss actually occur. And we'll talk about how that works in a minute. And number three, the key number three is the micro win method. And this is what I call the anti all or nothing system. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we live in a society or world nowadays where it's either I have to do all the things or none of the things. And there just isn't a whole lot of in between. And my goal for you is to get rid of that all or nothing mindset. That's actually one of the taglines for my business, is liberating women from the all or nothing mindset. And so this is how women over 40 install one habit at a time without crashing by Thursday. And it's also how so many, all of my clients are still holding on to those habits months and years later. And I'll give some stories about that here in a little bit. And I'm going to teach you guys these keys in order, and I'm going to show you why the order matters. All right. So let's go. Now, I want to say this one more time, because if you remember nothing else from tonight, I want you to remember this, that it is not you. It is the formula you've been handed. And my hope is that this new formula will serve you so much more positively. And tonight, I'm going to give you, like I said, the new formula. So here's what's changed from the old playbook that you maybe have been trying to write from to the new one. Starting somewhere in your late 30s and into your 40s, three big things started happening kind of all at the same time. Thank you, Mother Nature. Number one is that your estrogen starts to fluctuate and then declines. That one change alters how your body stores fat, how it recovers from stress, and how it responds to exercise. Number two is your muscle mass begins to drop. And after 40, women lose muscle at a measurable rate every year, unless, hear me when I say this word, unless they are actively and correctly training to retain that muscle. And number three is your cortisol response gets louder. The same workout that maybe left you feeling high on life when you were 28 now leaves you feeling inflamed, puffy, exhausted, just smashed, and not in a good way. One of the other big pieces with cortisol is that as estrogen begins to decline, estrogen is our body's stress response buffer. So as estrogen is declining over the years, our ability to handle stress in general is also declining. So you may notice, maybe if this is you, little show of hand or drop in the chat, if you found yourself in your 40s and 50s and you're like, why does everything my husband does or says is so much more irritating than it used to be? Or maybe like something at work or something you're at the grocery store and someone cuts you off, like it feels like it grates on you 10 times more than it ever did before. And maybe you feel like you're on a roller coaster of emotional just chaos. And it's simply because we don't have the same ability, that same level of estrogen stress buffer as we used to. So you're not broken, you're not crazy, all right? Maybe we probably all are a little bit, but you're not broken and you're not crazy. This is a natural part of our systems. However, it's important to understand that and what's going on. So when you take the same approach to your weight loss, to your fitness that used to work in your 20s, which was a lot of times eating less and moving more, you drop the pounds and it was great. And you apply it to the body that's now carrying less muscle, more cortisol, less estrogen, the math stops mathing. All right. The conventional advice that the conventional advice that you're being given is actually making it worse. And the more you cut calories, the more muscle you lose. The more muscle you lose, guess what? The slower your metabolism is going to get. And the slower your metabolism gets, the less food you can eat before you end up gaining weight. Okay, it all plays into this cycle. And then you feel like you're failing at something that you used to be really great at. And I just want to repeat and say, girl, you are not failing. The formula has failed you. So your body, like I said, did not fail you. You aren't just, I hear this all the time, I'm just getting older and oh, well, I guess this is just what happens, right? The rules changed when your body changed, all right? So if the formula changed and then the response, it has to change too. And so there are three things that need to shift. Once you train your body for the body that you have today, not the body that responded to boot camps 15 years ago or just starving myself, whatever, you've got to be able to train the body that you have today. So that's number one, train for the body that you have today. Number two is you need to feed the body in a way that feels safe before you ask it to transform. Okay. And number three is that you install one habit at a time. Stop trying to overhaul, stop restarting on Monday because you failed at 15 things by Thursday. I want you to pick one micro goal, anchor it. We'll talk about what that means in a minute. And then I want you to let it run for like 2 weeks straight before you add anything else. We're going to talk a little bit about statistics. So if you're a numbers person, this will stand out to you. Women can lose up to 3 to 8% of their muscle mass per decade after the age of 30. And it's accelerating after 40 without dedicated strength training. Estrogen levels, as I mentioned earlier, can drop, and they can drop by more than 40% during perimenopause, which in turn, thank you, Mother Nature, shifts where your body stores fat. So you may all of a sudden have this belly tire thing, this belly fat you've never had before, and is all of a sudden showing up. And chronic undereating suppresses the hormones that are responsible for fat loss. Most women over 40, call me crazy, but it's so true. Most women over 40 are eating well below what their body actually needs on a consistent basis. And so and then lastly, cortisol levels rise with age. We rise with a few different things. And we kind of talked about this earlier, but cortisol levels are going to increase with age, also with inadequate sleep and overuse of high intensity exercise, which is going to directly block the fat release from your body. And then the last point is trying to overhaul more than one or two behaviors at a time has a failure rate, listen to this, of above 90%. So show of hands, if you are someone who has said, all right, this week, I am gonna do XYZ. This is how I'm gonna change and I'm gonna do these things. And you have listed out more than one or two things. You've told yourself, I'm gonna change this and this and this and this. If you have tried that and you're on this call right now, you probably have failed. And it's okay. You're not alone. You're not broken. But chances are you've probably failed because you tried to change too many things at once. And I'm not saying that from a high horse. Ladies, I am saying that from in the depths with every single one of you. I have done that more times than I can count. For myself, I have used this method and these tools to personally transform my body. I've lived through it. I'm from a place of hormonal crazy dysfunction and doing all the right things and getting none of the right results that I used to get. I've been there. I started, however, with one thing at a time. I stopped chasing the high of high intensity workouts. And I took what I call the end goal timeline. I took it off the table. I was very much one of those who was like, okay, I'm going to do this 8-week program. And then I'm going to try this 30-day challenge. I stopped doing all of that. I decided one day I'm going to start lifting weights that day. And then the next day I did the same thing. And then the next day I made that decision again. And I learned through this whole system how to calm my nervous system and refuel it with intention and not obsession. So if you're someone who kind of obsesses over food or what I can eat and what I can't eat, this is for you. I hear you. I've been there. I've done it. And it's not fun, right? And my hope is to help you get off of that roller coaster. And I'm not the only one. Let me show you 3 more women that I've worked with. Same formula, different lives. My girl Natalie here, 42 at the time. She was a full-time mom with a side business. She dropped over 50 pounds in a year while eating more than she had in years. And she told me, Claire, I never thought this would be possible for me. The most fun part of her story is that she decided in her mid freaking 40s to do a bikini competition. This woman who had spent, and I might get a little emotional, she had spent years taking care of her family and her kids, and she had put herself on a back burner to a point where she did not know who she saw in that mirror anymore. And for her to make this decision to step on stage as a bikini in a bikini competition and say, like, I never thought this would be possible for me. That is real transformation. Sorry, I didn't know that was going to happen. My girl Courtney here, she's 45, an engineer and a mom. She is a high achiever person, but a huge life change and a move happened that just derailed her. And she had always been able to get back on track very easily. But this major move and then the shift of this age and bracket that she was in, nothing was working to get her back on track until this program. And she told me, Claire, I feel like me. I feel like I'm me again. And lastly, Shelly, she's 56, retired. She's an empty nester. And she went from like just kind of walking periodically and doing boot camp several days a week to walking and doing progressive strength training. And she went from 156 pounds down to 137. And in her words, this process actually feels sustainable. So same pattern, same outcome. This is not luck. This is what happens when the formula fits the body. Natalie and the other women I just showed you are not exceptional. They're not at a different stage in life than you, and they're not more disciplined than you. And they're not more luckier than you, right? They just had the right formula applied in the right sequence for the body that they have right now. And that's exactly what I am about to teach you guys. So if you're taking notes, here's key number 1. We're going to dive into it a little bit deeper. And this is what I call training DNA. This is the strength method that is designed for your brain chemistry, and it's matched to your 40 plus body, not the 28-year-old body that you used to be. And here's the core insight. Your body is not a generic body. I hope you guys can agree with me on that we are all uniquely and wonderfully made. It's a specific body with a specific nervous system and a specific hormonal profile and a specific capacity to recover. So the training that will actually build muscle, no matter where you are in life, and reduce belly fat, body fat, it's not the same training that quote unquote burns the most calories on your watch. All right. It is the training that your body can handle and recover from properly. And that's going to look different than it did when you were in your 20s. For most women over 40, this is going to mean less high intensity work, more heavier lifting, and that looks different for every person. I want y'all to hear me when I say that. When I say strength training, I'm not asking if you're in your 70s or 60s and you haven't been in a gym in 30 years. I'm not asking you to go pick up a barbell, okay? That's not where I'm talking about here. Strength training can look different for each person. But for the 40 plus body, losing the high intensity stuff on this daily basis that a lot of people are doing, incorporating more heavy lifting, strength training, more walking, and a completely different approach with what a good workout is supposed to feel like is what is going to actually get you the results that you want. And so the training DNA is a filter that tells you which workouts to do and which ones to leave by the wayside. And this was a huge learning lesson for me because I was doing way more high intensity workouts regularly and not feeling like I was making any change in my body whatsoever. And I get this from a lot of women. So what you'll do is you'll take a short assessment, like I mentioned. You'll be able to have access to that at the end of today. But you'll take a short questionnaire that's going to tell you what your training DNA personality type is. And then you'll receive a 12-page PDF that is incredibly helpful in getting you on the right track. It doesn't come with a coach or accountability. It's education. It's great education. Yes, but remember that education without application is just kind of useless. So just put that as a little reminder in your mind there. But it's incredibly helpful and it will give you a good, understanding of who you are and what works well for you. Let me tell you what a lot of you have probably been doing. Maybe not all of you, but a lot of you, but because I used to do it too. Maybe you're a person who was doing boot camps or Peloton classes every day, or maybe a cardio circuit type of thing. that has you getting your heart rate into the 170s or so for like a whole class period. And you finish and you're soaked, you feel accomplished, and you've not built a single pound of muscle in a year. Here's why. That high intensity style cardio and circuit training in a body that is already low on estrogen, already high on cortisol, and already low on muscle is not a stimulus that your body can properly and well recover from. It's a stimulus that your body is like gripping the table saying, I'm just surviving this. You are not adapting. No, nothing changes because your body is too busy dealing with the fallout of this overtaxed nervous system. And a lot of the conventional advice out there says, well, if you're not seeing results, you need to work harder. So maybe you add another class and then your sleep gets worse and your midsection gets softer and you think it is a you problem. And it's not. You're just using the same training that your 20-year-old body used to use on what is now your 40, 50, 60-year-old body. And a lot of you, if you're past that 40-year-old stage, maybe into your 50s and 60s, you were trying this old formula and at some point you gave up. You said, you know what? Nothing's working. I'm done. I'm too old. This is just what happened. It just is what it is. And I'm here to tell you that is not the case. So there are 3 phases to this training, to the training protocols that I teach. And again, this order matters, all right? So within the training DNA and the strength training protocols, phase 1 is what I call the movement foundation. So before we add weight, especially for those of you who haven't worked out in quite some time, before we add weight, we got to fix how you move. And for most women, this is like 2 to 4 weeks of learning the basics, learning how to properly squat, hinge, squat, press, row, etc. It's not sexy, all right? It's not fancy. It's not, exciting, but it is what keeps you out of my DMs or my emails from, 6 weeks from now saying like, my back hurts. What's happening? We got to make sure that you're moving properly before we add that weight. This is not a part that you skip. This is building a strong foundation that everything else will continue to build upon. Phase 2 is progressive strength. And this is aimed about 3 to 4 strength sessions a week. Lifting weights. Some of you will start out with body weight resistance style bands, but eventually you will be lifting weights. Those of you who maybe are a little like scared of dumbbells or scared of weights or machines, I'm here to hopefully squash that because they're not scary. And you, my love, are stronger than you think and probably stronger than you give yourself credit for. We track every weight, every rep, every week. And we progress a little bit, week over week, month over month. The goal is not to feel the burn more. It's not to be more sore than the last time. The goal is to get stronger. So visible muscle definition will follow this progressive overload that we're discussing. And that visible muscle is what's going to show up from progressive overload, not from burning out in another HIIT class. All right. The metric, I like this little quote that the metric is the weight on the bar, not the puddle on the floor. Something to think about. Phase 3 is low intensity movement. Okay. Walking. And I know I have on my slide dancing because honestly, you guys, I enjoy dancing. I'm not great at it, but it's something I enjoy doing. And I use that for my movement some days in place of going out walking. But the goal is walking more days than not, aiming between 30 and 60 minutes. That is your cardio. Now I'm going to give you a fun little nugget here. I don't care if your 60 minutes of walking in a day is all in one chunk. Maybe it's split into 2. Maybe it's 6 10-minute walks or 10 6-minute walks. I don't care. The goal is to aim for about 30 to 60 minutes of intentional walking or intentional movement more often than not. Okay. I'm not asking for perfection. I'm not asking for you to commit on a Monday. I'm going to do 7 days and I have to get walking in 60 minutes every day. That's not what we're doing. But the goal is to get to a place where that 30 to 60 minutes of intentional movement becomes your norm. Okay. The sequence of these phases is it matters because if you skip phase one, you could potentially injure yourself in phase two, strength training. And if you skip phase three, the walking movement, you never actually end up burning the fat that you're now building in phase two. So there's an order of operations and it works well for a reason. You don't need 7 days a week of classes or whatever. You need 3 to 4 progressive strength training sessions and daily or most days walking or movement for the body that you have right now. That is your formula, your training formula. So let me tell you a little bit about Dana here. She's 49. She's a sales director. When she came to me, she had been on the scale every single morning for 3 years. She was eating maybe 1,400 calories a day. She was doing a mix of fasted cardio, spin, boot camps. She was gaining weight daily, not losing. And she was living in a constant state of cortisol spike, imbalanced hormones, and she was frustrated as all could be. Every meal at home or out was stressful for her and for her family because she was obsessed with over every little thing that she could eat or couldn't eat. I took her down to 4 or 5 strength sessions a week, 30-minute walks at the most, and 0 high-intensity workouts for 12 weeks. I didn't let her touch them for 12 weeks. And we let the body do what it was finally able and wanting to do. So these pictures are only about 6 months apart. She has more freedom than she's ever had before. She doesn't obsess over food anymore. She doesn't track a single morsel of food anymore. And she's trying on clothes from the back of her closet that haven't fit in years. This is training DNA. This is less noise, and this is more of the right signaling for her brain chemistry and for her body at this stage of life. Any questions? I'll put a little pause right here for what we've kind of covered so far, you guys. I'm gonna get a sip of water. Feel free to drop in the chat. Or just a thumbs up, a yay, smiley, this is making sense. This is cool. All right. Okay, well, let's move right on then. Key number 2. So remind you, key number 1 was the training protocol. Key number 2, love it, y'all, beautiful, is what I call the reverse first to reset. This is why eating less is actually making things worse for you, and then the process that's going to fix it. All right, so let's dig into it. So here's the core insight. Chances are a lot of you are potentially, a lot of you are eating too little too often. And that's probably also causing you to go into these cycles of binging or overindulging a lot of times on the weekends or when a holiday hits or a special occasion. And the way to get out of the fat loss stall that you're in is counterintuitive, okay? Because I'm going to tell you, it is actually to eat more first, consistently, and then eat less later. And we'll talk about how that works. So the reverse first reset method, it's a nutrition approach that builds your daily food intake up slowly and methodically. You're going to be eating more protein than you probably have in 20 years. And you're going to get your calories up to a maintenance level that actually matches your current body. And only then, when your metabolism has relearned that food is safe, do we ever even contemplate going into a calorie deficit or a fat loss phase. Most of you have probably been in a deficit of some kind for 10 years and you don't even know it. So let me tell you maybe what you've been doing and why it's keeping you where you are. Maybe this resonates with some of you out there. If it does, drop me a thumbs up or a heart in the chat. Maybe you're someone who skips breakfast more days than not. You push lunch to 1 p.m. at least, or you skip lunch. You're being good, quote, all day. And then 2 p.m. hits and you're like shaky, crashing, and you're like reaching for the quickest grab of chips or candy or whatever's in the office, whatever fridge it might be. And by the time you get home making dinner for the family or yourself, you're standing in the pantry eating out of something while you're making dinner. Dinner itself is probably reasonable. But then around 9 p.m., you're back in the kitchen again, like a little raccoon opening that pantry, looking in the freezer because you've been restricting yourself all day and your body is demanding the calories that you haven't been giving it. You end the day eating maybe 1,000, maybe 1,200 calories, maybe 60 grams of protein, if that, and you feel like you've failed at discipline again. You did not fail at discipline. You're just underfueled. All right. Your body did what it was designed to do, ladies. It survived the day. All right. The conventional advice says just cut more calories, go lower carbs, skip dinner, right? Try intermittent fasting again. Every one of these is going to make it worse. You cannot cut your way out of a body that is already running on a deficit that it adapted to years ago. And so the answer is to make your body feel safe. It's to feed your body like the 40, 50, 60-year-old something that it is and allow it to feel safe. Then let fat loss happen the way when the body is actually set up to handle it properly. Okay, so there's an important intentionality in this reversing back to a place of maintenance, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second, before you move into what we call a fat loss phase or a calorie deficit to get the body moving in the direction toward the results that you want. But you've got to make sure that the body feels safe first. So here's how this the reverse first reset actually works. There's three pillars within this, and it goes in order. Pillar number one is the protein floor. I want you to think of protein as like building a house. It's the foundation. It's the concrete foundation that everything else is built on. My goal for you is to be, and again, remember, I want you having a plan to walk away from. So if you're writing these notes down, these are important notes. I want you aiming to be eating roughly between 0.8 up to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of your goal body weight every single day. So for most of you, this is going to fall probably somewhere between 120, maybe 160 grams of protein. My guess is if those of you who are tracking currently, or if you were to start tracking, my guess is most of you are eating less than 70 grams of protein in a day, easily. So we're going to roughly double what you're currently intaking before we do anything else. But please listen to this but on this slide. This will take time because we can't just jump straight from, let's say Nicole is tracking her calories and her protein, and she's like, man, I eat like 55, maybe 60 grams of protein a day. I am not at all going to say, great, Nicole, tomorrow I need your goal body weight is 125. Cool. I need you eating 125 grams of protein tomorrow. We're not going to do that. She would be miserable, constipated, bloated, just unhappy. She would fire me as her coach, and she should if I told her to do that. Okay. But we're going to slowly increase your protein intake to ensure that your body adapts and adjusts properly. The human body is one of the most fascinating things on this planet in its ability to adapt and its ability to adjust. So give it the platform it needs to do that properly. So if you aren't tracking currently, you can start tracking just your protein. All right, what that looks like daily, just to get an average of what you're currently intaking. And let's say, I gave the example, let's say it's averaging about 60 grams a day. You're just going to slowly begin to increase your protein intake daily by about 10, maybe 15 grams 1 week, lock it in for about 5, 6, 7 days, and then bump it up another 10, 15 grams. Lock that in till that feels natural and second nature, until you get to that goal point that you want to get to. All right. Pillar number 2 is the reverse. All right. So before any fat loss is what we call the reverse dieting. Before any fat loss phase, before we can like start dropping pounds and all the, we're going to walk your calories just like we did your protein. We're going to walk them back up to what we call maintenance. And we're going to do this slowly, just like I talked about protein. And this is going to be anywhere from about 50 to 100 calorie increase per week until you're at your maintenance. And if you aren't sure what your maintenance calories should be, you'll have the option at the end tonight to schedule a call with me and I will happily map that out for you. It's no gimmicky thing. It's just if you want the help, I'm here. Most clients add somewhere between 300 and 600 calories a day to what their current, like where they started with their eating. And here is what happens. Their energy level comes back. Their sleep improves. Their weight usually stays flat. It might go up 1 to 3 pounds, but that's on purpose. When you're eating at what we call maintenance, that is the amount of calories that your body needs to maintain its current weight. So the fluctuation on the scale it's not going to be, oh my gosh, I'm eating more, then I'm going to gain 15 or 20 pounds. It's not going to happen. Okay. Because we're eating at your maintenance to maintain where you are. You cannot cut your way out of a deficit that your body has already adapted to. If you've been under eating for years, your body got used to it a long freaking time ago. And guess what? Your metabolism said, well, I got to match that. I got to slow down because I'm in survival mode. Like I got to use these calories to make sure her heart pumps and her brain works, right? So this is such an important piece of this puzzle is being able to reverse to that place of maintenance, allow the body to feel safe, fueled properly, energy levels coming back up, the balance in the metabolic health of your system to regulate, then you can visit that fat loss or that deficit. Lastly is what I call, you probably have all heard this, but the 80-20 rule. This is my probably a core philosophy in everything that I do. It's the liberating women from the all or nothing mindset. You still get your glass of wine, ladies. You can still go out to dinner with your husband on a Friday night. You can still go to happy hour or brunch with girlfriends. What we are not doing is building a plan that you can't live with. Because if we build a plan that you can't live with, that isn't sustainable, that plan is going to collapse. And if you absolutely hate salads, please, for the love of things, like don't force yourself to eat salads when you're trying to quote unquote be good, because guess what? That's not sustainable. You won't continue to eat them anyways after whatever this quote unquote phase that you're, attempting to do. The order of this matters because if you try to drop calories before you've built the protein floor, you are going to lose muscle, not fat. I'm going to repeat that. If you try to drop your calories before you have built that protein floor, you will lose muscle, not fat. And if you try to cut before you have cut down in calories before you've done this reverse diet, your metabolism is still too dormant and it's still too much in survival mode for it to even respond. It's just going to hang out and keep going in this kind of quiet mode and dormant place. You're not going to see changes occur. So the sequence, this importance, the protein floor built on top of that reverse diet, getting you to maintenance, and then that 80-20 rule. Enjoy life, ladies. I'm not here to tell you that you can't go and do the things you enjoy doing. I do them all the time. This sequence is what makes this finally work for you. I want to tell you a little bit about my girl, Tony. I mentioned her a little bit earlier, I believe, maybe if I didn't, but Tony is about 48. She owns her own business and she works around other clients' schedules. She came to me a couple years ago because she was doing what a lot of you are doing right now. She was up at 5 a.m. most days. She was doing boot camps or higher intensity workouts. And she was eating somewhere around 12 or 1,300 calories a day during the week. Black coffee in the morning, and that was it. And then she'd have a glass or 2 or 3 of wine at night, because at that point, it was the one thing that she looked forward to at the end of the day. And she would then kind of let loose on the weekends because she had, quote unquote, been doing so well during the week. I'm eating my 1,200, maybe 1,300 calories. And then the weekend would come and she'd be like, oh, well, I did so well during the week, I can kind of let go. But her weight had not moved at all in 8 months. If not, she had probably gained weight. And her clothes were tighter than they were a year before. She was exhausted by 2 p.m. and she wasn't sleeping through the night. And she told me, and I quote, "I have the discipline to run a business. Why can I not do this for myself?" So here was what actually happening. She was not eating too much. She was eating too little. Her body had downshifted her metabolism in response to years of under eating and over exercising. And she was losing muscle all the time. She was not growing it. She was not maintaining it, retaining it. She was producing way too much cortisol because she was in this crazy high state stress state because of running a business, not eating enough, not sleeping. It all just compiled. And her body was just holding on to everything because it had no reason to trust her. It had no reason to trust her. She wasn't giving it adequate nutrients. And so we changed three things in a very specific order for her. We rebuilt her training around recovery, not intensity. I actually made her stop working out for like 2 weeks. And we worked on stretching and yoga and walking and going down to the beach. Those are some things she enjoys doing. And then we walked her calories back up to maintenance consistently so that she wasn't famished come the weekend and she wasn't overindulging and binging on the weekends. And we got her to a place where her body could actually respond to the fat loss phase that we moved her into. And we installed one habit at a time instead of a bunch of habits all at once. And this is how this became sustainable for her. And she still texts me. This is probably 2 years ago or so, a little over. And she'll still text me telling me about her habits that they're just second nature. It's a part of what she does. And we'll talk about that, the micro goals here in a second, but it's pretty cool to hear from my clients when they share those moments. So 12 months later, Toni was eating more, training less, feeling like herself again. And I loved on our last call, she told me, she said, "Claire, I look at food so differently than I did before our time together. I don't stress when I go on vacations now or when we have family get-togethers that I'm like ruining my diet." She's like, "This is so refreshing." And then my favorite thing she said was like, "Not to mention," and she literally held her arm up and she was like, "Not to mention in my muscles." And I was like, I love that. Feeling like herself, like the stronger version of herself, was such a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right. How are we doing out there, guys? Give me a little thumbs up, a little smiley, a little hey, hi, something in the chat. Let me know you're still with me. We're on the home stretch here, ladies. This is really just my opportunity to grab some water. Nobody? There we go. Oh, Marcia, I love that. I love my muscles too, Marcia. That's amazing. So cool. All right. So we are now at key number 3. So we have talked about the key number 1, key number 2, and this is going to be our key number 3. So training protocol, your training DNA, the reverse first method, and then our micro win method. Key number 3 is all about that anti all or nothing mindset, anti all or nothing system. And this method is what actually makes the other 2 stick. This method is how you implement the other 2 in a fashion or in a way that actually is sustainable, reasonable, doable, and serves you for a lifetime. Okay. Here's the core insight. Every time you have tried to do it right, you've probably tried to do it all at once or a lot of things all at once. Monday morning, you were going to eat clean, train 5 days a week, cut out wine, go to bed at 10 and drink like 90 ounces of water. Sounds so good in theory. And you're like, I can do this. I'm motivated. It's Monday or it's the start of a month or it's the start of the year, whatever. And maybe you made it to Wednesday or Thursday that week, maybe Friday, and then life showed up. And because one thing fell apart, your whole structure fell apart. And then you find yourself Sunday, Saturday saying, you know what? Screw it. I'll start over again on Monday, right? Or I'll start over next month, or maybe I'll do better next year. And I don't say any of this to judge any of you because I have been there and done that. And it's exhausting. It is frustrating and it's exhausting. So the micro goal or micro win method is liberating you from that all or nothing mindset. It's working on installing one, and I'm going to show you my finger. I mean it when I say it, one small habit. You let that one habit become a non-negotiable before you add anything else. So over the course of 90 days, you don't try to become a different woman who's doing 100 different things. You become a woman who has installed 6, maybe 8 micro habits that now run on autopilot. All right. The way you've been doing it probably in the past is like this overhaul approach for, like you said, you pick a Monday or a new month of the year or whatever, and you change 10 things. You white knuckle it until one thing slips, and then the whole week feels like a failure and you give up. Then you start again on Monday and the Monday after that. And you've probably been doing some cycle of this for like 10 years or 5 years or 25 years, who knows? And the reason this doesn't work, it's not a lack of willpower. It's cognitive overload. Your brain is already managing a career, maybe a household, relationships, a spouse. Maybe you have some aging parents. Maybe you're trying to move your kids off to college, whatever it is. You do not have, excuse me, the cognitive bandwidth to install 10 new behaviors all at once. Listen to me when I say this, ladies. Nobody does. Okay. This is not a personal failing on your part. And stop letting society and people out there tell you you're lazy and you just don't have enough willpower. This is not a personal failing. This is how the human brain works. The conventional advice tells you, well, if you want it more, if you want it, you got to want it more. You got to do more. I want you to flip the script. I want you to want it less aggressively. Okay. And I want you to install it smarter. All right. And that's what we're going to talk about right here. Make sure I feel like somebody was off mute. Okay. There we go. So here's how the micro win method actually works. 3 components. I know I give components, guys. I'm a very organized brain. Well, I have to be organized because my brain usually isn't. So within the micro win method, component number 1 is what I mentioned a minute ago. You're going to pick one habit. One. Ladies, I mean it when I say it. Just one, just one, just one. And one doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to eat better. Not 100 grams of protein and drink water and have veggies every day. And that's still 5 things. You're picking one component. For most of my clients, the first micro win is simply hitting a protein target at breakfast. Did you hear me say hitting their whole total protein goal every day? No. 1, their protein target for breakfast. That's it. I'm not asking them for perfect nutrition. This is not a meal plan. It's not their 120 grams for the day. It is literally hitting 30 to 40 grams of protein at the start of their day. That's it. Another popular, and feel free to take that. You guys can write that one down as the one you want to do. Who knows? Another popular micro goal in the beginning is drinking 12 ounces of water before starting the meat and potatoes of their day, before leaving the house for their job, before making their coffee, whatever it might be. That's a really popular one as well. It's not trying to drink 80 to 100 ounces of water right away every day for a week. It's just incorporating 12 ounces of water in the morning before their life gets too crazy. All right. Now, once you've picked your thing, maybe right now you're thinking of that thing, write it down. Write it down, because remember, education without application is useless. So maybe you write that one that you're thinking you want to take on. Once you've decided on that, you're going to anchor it. And what that means is that we're going to attach this new habit to something you're already doing without having to think about. So maybe you brew coffee every morning. The eggs go in the pan while you're brewing your coffee. You now have a trigger and a behavior that run together. No additional decisions needing to be required. You probably brush your teeth every morning. I hope you do it. Now there's a sticky note reminder on your mirror with a filled water glass or a water bottle next to your toothbrush. So you're reminded to drink up that 12 ounces first thing in the morning. So you're no longer relying on willpower to make these things happen. You're relying on the routine that is already in place. It's called habit stacking. All right. It's an incredibly, incredibly useful tool. And it's how I work with all of my clients. And component number 3 is you're going to track that one. I'll keep repeating that. You're going to track that one micro win for 14 days before you add anything else. I do not care if you want to add 3 more things by day 6 because you think you're doing amazing. You do not add. You run the one habit for 2 weeks until it feels boring, until it's second nature, until it's like, I just do this thing because this is what I do. Then and only then we stack a second habit on top of that. This is the reason that clients I work with keep their results instead of losing them. We're not building some 12-week program. We're building a way of living that doesn't require you to be on a program forever. I love my clients and I love working with them. I have a cap of about 12, maybe 18 months. I want to teach you guys, I want to teach my clients the tools to have in their toolbox to do this on their own. All right. And that's important to me. All right. Oh, I meant to take that one out. Okay. So we have 3 keys, one system for the body that you have today. And this is what I call the free to be me method. So just kind of an overview. Let's bring all the keys together because this to me is really the key. The magic formula. Key number 1, that training DNA, the right strength training for the body you have now. Key number 2, that reverse first to reset, the nutrition approach that fuels you instead of starving you. And key number 3 is the micro win method. And this is the way that you install, right? That you install all of these habits along the way so that they actually stick. The training DNA without the reverse first is a body that's lifting heavy weight on not enough fuel. You're going to lose muscle, you're going to feel worn out, and you're going to quit. The reverse first reset without the training DNA is a body that's finally eating enough to feel safe, but it's not creating a reason to use the calories for anything productive. You may be sleeping better and having more energy, but you're not going to see visible change. Both of these, the reverse and the training DNA, both of these without the micro win method is a pile of great information that you can't hold on to and that you're not implementing. You know what to do, but you just can't do it consistently because you're trying to install too many things at once. But when you do all 3 in order, the maths, you feed your body, you train your body, and you're going to install the behaviors that make feeding it and training it a non-negotiable. Your metabolism will bounce back, your muscles will come in, and the mirror, the woman that's standing in that mirror looking back at you is now the one that you recognize. So this is what I call the free to be me method. The question now is, what are you going to do with it? When you do, like I said, all 3 in order, you stop wondering, when is that version of me coming back? Because she's been in there the whole time. You're just now finally going to be feeding her and training her and letting her show up the way that she intended to. So the question is not, do I know what to do? I just gave you guys the exact tools, the exact steps in the order to do them. The question is, are you ready to do it? Before we go, I did already went over that. So you have the tools. I've given you the steps. The time, the 90 days, the 6 months, it's going to pass either way. You get to decide what that looks like. My question to you right now is, can you clearly see how this method is different? Can you see like what maybe went wrong in the past that has caused you to fail or to this place where you don't recognize yourself? Can you clearly see that this method will work differently than things you've done in the past? And I want to make sure that this is all making sense, that we're all on the same page. So I'm curious, of these 3 points we talked about, I'll go back to the screen. Which one of these points stood out to you the most? The thing that impacted, like, oh, that was the light bulb moment for me. I'm curious, is it the micro-win method maybe? Is it understanding your training DNA? Nicole says, I love the stacking habits thing. Nice. Or was it maybe the reverse to reset? Which of these 3 stood out to you the most? Drop it in the chat for me. I want to make sure this is making sense to you guys. So habit stacking for Nicole. Marcia, everyone is talking about cortisol. Does this impact cortisol? Yeah, I mean, I talked about cortisol a ton. Everything we talked about, yeah, is going to impact it in a positive way, especially shifting your current training, especially if you're doing like more high intensity training. This understanding your training protocol for your body at 40 plus is going to be a game changer for that. And then when you're fueling your body with adequate nutrients and the amount it actually needs, not to survive, but to actually thrive, also is going to help with the cortisol. Yes, absolutely. So number 2 for Lolly, I love it. Micro wins for Charlene. That's amazing. Marcia, so again, yeah, we discussed this pretty in depth. So definitely watch the replay on this, but working on increasing your protein slowly. I talked about it underneath the reverse first to reset. Again, Christine, this is why we do it slowly, a week at a time, and build yourself up to that place. Your body will adapt and it will become more second nature than you think. Dawn says the nutrition reset really makes sense. That's amazing. I agree. I've done it. I had to do it for myself. I get it. Awesome. So now that we're on the same page, there's really just 2 paths forward from here. So there's path number 1, where you can take all of this, you can apply it on your own. You can rewatch the replay of this when it gets sent out tomorrow morning. You can piece your notes together and you can, try to figure it out on your own. And some people will genuinely be successful that way. The reality is that a lot of people won't, because the information isn't bad. It's because the real magic happens with implementation and accountability and guidance that you can, you receive from somebody who does this for a living. Here's the thing, like, I want y'all to know, like, this isn't your full-time job. You shouldn't have to constantly be thinking and trying to figure these things out, especially when there's a proven process that you can follow and have the accountability. And that's why I created path number 2. And this is where we do this together. I walk you through everything. And for those of you who like to have more certainty, who would like to have more confidence, who want to reach your goals without a shadow of a doubt, and you want to be 100% sure that this is going to work for you, that's why we have path number 2. And path number 2 is the ability to jump on an assessment call with me. Complimentary, no BS, no strings attached. It is not a sales call. It is genuinely a 45-minute call with me so that I can help you map out, understand where you are, because I have a lot of you on right now. I can't assess every single person's very specific needs and where they are and where they're wanting to go. But on that assessment call, it really serves 2 purposes. Number 1, it allows for personalized guidance. Like I said, the workshop is really more generalized and, everybody's different. So the assessment call allows me to give an individual a roadmap to get for yourself based on questions that I'm going to ask you about your goals, your diet history, your current lifestyle, and just things like that. Then I can really give you clarity and a path forward for yourself. And number 2 is to see if we both think maybe one-on-one coaching is a good fit for you. But only if we both agree that that's a possible next step, then will we even discuss one-on-one coaching. If either one of us just doesn't think that that's where we want to go, no worries. All right. So this is, like I said, this is not designed to be a straight sales call. What it is designed to do is to give you individually, each one of you, clarity and to give you a game plan to move forward. And then if we both agree we want to talk about coaching, then we can go over what that looks like and if it makes sense. Totally up to you. Again, I want to help you. That's where I'm at, is I want to help you. So if that's you, let me, oh, I forgot to go to this slide, my bad. This is basically just path one, do it yourself. Path two is to do it alongside with me. And this is in my Free to Be Me VIP coaching program. Within the coaching program, this is everything you need and nothing that you don't. This is exactly what I take all of my clients through and exactly what you would get as well. Custom training DNA program, weekly check-ins, a private client portal, and the same exact steps that we've kind of already gone over. And I'm not going to dive super deep into this because I don't know where everyone is right now. But if you decide that, maybe this is something that you want to learn a little bit more about, then let's have that conversation. And if you want to, actually, before I go to that, what I do want to be very clear about for this is, if you want clarity and understanding for you and a path forward, whether you decide to do coaching or not, all right? If you want clarity and a roadmap to get you where you want to go, then this is for you, to do the assessment call. Who this is not for is if you're looking for a 6-week quick fix or another 30-day challenge. This is not for you. This is a 6 to 12-month program, because that's how long it takes for the body to make actual sustainable change. This is not for you if you're unwilling to slow down, if you're unwilling to address your food, potentially eating more, or rebuilding from the ground up if needed. All right. If you would just want to keep like rolling with the playbooks from the old school 20-year-old self, this is also not going to be for you. And then also, if you're someone, this is not for you. If you want a generic plan, this is not what this is. This is one-on-one coaching with weekly check-ins, direct access, and the accessibility to me is a lot. It's there. All right. So just so you kind of know who this isn't for, I want to make sure you guys understand. Little reminder of my girl Tony here. Same discipline, same kind of life a lot of you guys live. The fact that she was able to, make such a difference in such a short amount of time for her was a game changer for her. So what you will get also, if you decide to book your assessment call with me, again, it's a no strings attached call. If you decide to book this call in the next 48 hours, here are the 2 bonuses I told you guys you would get if you stuck around to the end. So number 1 is my Ultimate Thrive Guide to Your 40s and Beyond. It's an ebook that I wrote. I'm pretty proud of it, but I love it. It's a very helpful guide. It's totally yours. And then bonus number 2 is that training DNA assessment that I told you. If you take that questionnaire, and it will auto-populate your specific personality, neurotype personality, and the proper training protocol for you. And it's a 12-page PDF that delivers insightful and amazing tactile, tangible, actionable things that you can do to move you forward. And I'll remind you that education without application is useless. So it's a great tool, but if you're not going to use it, definitely put it into practice if you can. So if you book your assessment call within the next 48 hours, you will get both of these bonuses. So just just so you understand where we're at on that. So what we will do on this call is we're going to look at your current training. We're going to look at your current nutrition. We're going to look at your goals, your lifestyle, your schedule, the body you have right now. And we're going to decide together what the best path forward for you is. All right. And what that actually fits for you. And then we'll have a conversation and we'll talk through the recommendations and the step-by-step roadmap that I would suggest for you. And at that point, if we want to chat about one-on-one coaching, you feel like that's something that would benefit you, and I feel like it's something that could benefit you where you are right now, then and only then will we talk about it. If you're like, Claire, this is great, this is helpful, thank you for this 90-day plan, I'm good, I want to roll with it on my own. Amazing. High five. I'm happy for you. All right. So if you want to book that assessment call with me, simply text the word change to the number on their screen, 719-409-5439. Just text me. It's my direct contact. Just text me the word change and I will get that link over to you. I will personally reply and I'll get you booked on my calendar. I have room for a limited number of calls. I'm actually going to be on an airplane half of the day tomorrow. So between tomorrow and next week, I have some, limited spaces, but I have some very specific blocks booked out for y'all. And again, remember, if you book this assessment call book it within the next 40 hours. It's okay if it's a week or so out. You'll get both of those bonuses. All right. So again, that number is on the screen. It's 719-409-5439. Just text the word change to me. I love it. I've already gotten 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, cool. I've already gotten four texts from you guys. I love it. Now's the time to drop that message and I will get that over to you. I love it. And I just want to be, again, just super clear about the structure of the assessment call. You'll text me that word change. I'll reply so you can get the assessment call. Like I said, the first 5 to 10 minutes, you guys, is really just like information gathering. I'm going to ask you some questions about your goals and, what your current diet, training, lifestyle looks like. And then I'm going to help create a realistic plan for you to move forward. And the goal here, like I said, it's clarity and it's having a game plan. So the worst thing that you could do is show up to this workshop because you're not where you want to be. And you want to be, you want to have a more effective strategy and you want to reach your goals, right? Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be here. So the worst thing you could do is, show up, spend this 90 minutes together that we did, and then not have a game plan to move forward and not have the clarity that you need to move forward, which is why I'm doing these calls, because I want you to have clarity. I want you to stop feeling frustrated and searching the internet for who said this and she said that and what should I do, because it's exhausting. So we go through that first question asking. I'm going to help map out an effective strategy and plan for where you are and where you're wanting to go. And I want to make sure that you feel good about the game plan. And then the last part of the call, like I said, only if we feel like it's a good fit, you want to learn about coaching, we'll have that conversation. I'm not forcing anything. I just want you guys to know I'm a very transparent person. Honesty and transparency is very important for me. So that's how the structure of the call will go. I love it. I got a couple more booked. I love it. Or that text message come through. Awesome. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, okay, Claire, but like for coaching, like what is the investment? I'm not sure if I'm ready to commit. I'm not sure if I can afford it. And look, y'all, that is totally valid. And I don't know the answers to those things. I don't know if you are ready to commit. And I don't know if it's in your budget. I don't know if you're a person who's in a position to invest in something financially or emotionally, like that right now. But that's the whole point of this assessment call, is to find out, number one, what you need, right? And I would be doing you a disservice if I just threw up some pricing on my coaching and stuff on the screen. I don't want to just be generic. I want this to be individualized for you and really understanding where you are and what you actually need. So that's why this is an important, just let's have this phone call. Let's chat through the things. Thanks, Lolly. I look forward to it as well, hun. And let's go over the details. Let's create this plan that's going to work best for you and help you to be successful and move forward on your path and what that looks like. So go ahead. If you have not sent over that text, or if you have any questions about the assessment call or anything that we went over today, I've left 10 minutes for us for Q&A here at the end. We've got, love it. Oh, very, very cool. I'm excited to meet with so many of you. Um, so now's the time. Feel free to raise your hand. Oh, hey, Kat. Coke, I just saw you on here. Have fun. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. You can unmute yourself. You're welcome to do that as well. Like I said, I'm a very transparent person, you guys. Anything you ask, I'm not gonna skate around or sugarcoat. I'm gonna be honest with you. Love it. All right. Well, if there's no questions, I would love for one or two of you to just drop a little something in the chat, like what you are going to take away from today. What's one thing that you feel like spoke to you that you're planning to implement or,
Hello, can you hear me?
yes, I can. iPhone, go
Okay,
for
I have
it.
a couple of questions. I wasn't able to stay completely on on the on the program, the seminar tonight because I got a doctor's visit, doctor's
No
call,
worries.
and found out some news wasn't too good. So anyway, I missed the middle. I caught the beginning, I caught the end, but it seemed like I missed the middle.
Okay.
So how can I hear that again? Because I don't really know. I know you spoke about one woman that you took her down. You didn't have her do walking. You just had her do with weights for 4 days, and you up the protein. But like I said, I was in and out
Yeah.
trying to go back and forth.
No
But
worries. What is your name, by the way? Sorry, your thing says iPhone.
Patricia,
Oh, Patricia. Hi, Patricia. It's great to meet you. So after tomorrow morning, anyone who signed up for this, and had the link for it, you're going to get the replay of this whole call. So
oh,
you'll be
perfect.
able to watch it. It's yours to keep. Yeah. So I highly recommend go back. Um, be able to listen to it when you aren't obviously in the middle of
Are
a
those
doctor's visit.
exercises I have to do at a gym, or can I do both or combination? I could do home and gym or just gym.
That's a great question. And again, that's why the assessment call is going to be
Oh,
super,
okay. I'm
super
sorry. Like I
valuable.
said,
No,
I
no, no,
missed
no, no.
out.
That's a great question, honestly, because I promise you, if you had that question, Patricia, there's at least five other people who thought the same thing. And my answer, you'll hear me say this often if we do get to chat together, is it depends. So because each person is unique and each person's needs are unique, when we talked about, and you may have missed this section, but when we talked about building a foundation within the training DNA section, we want to build your movement, um, your ability to move properly first. And so we make sure that you're able to do the basic principles of movement properly without weight before we begin adding weight. And for some of you, you may have a ton of history of working out all the time. You still work out, and that will be a much faster process. For others of you who haven't worked out in a long time, or maybe you're coming back from an injury, or just maybe you have never worked out, that phase can take a little bit longer before we begin adding weight into your movements. I offer programs that are home based workouts, but you do need to have some equipment at home, some dumbbells and some bands. But I also have gym based workouts as well. So we have lots of options, is kind of the long answer to your question. I hope
Okay,
that that
perfect.
helps.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Love it.
Thank you.
Of course. Of course. Dawn says the small steps, one at a time, and track it. I love it. I love it. Protein for Chrissy. Beautiful. Yes. What about protein, Chrissy? What is it about that? Like, what is the thing you took away? I know you understand the importance of it, but like, what specific? See how we dial down, get a little bit more nitty gritty? Because understanding you need protein is like understanding you need water. But how are you going to work on getting that protein in? That's what I want you to think about. Great question, Patricia. Thank you for sharing. That's awesome. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Oh my gosh, eight, nine. Oh, I love it, guys. I've got like 10 of you guys who have sent me a text. I love that. Amazing. I will get the link to all of you to book your assessment call. Um, again, kind of wrapping it up, guys. Any questions? I'm wrapping. We're done. Oh my gosh. I did it in the perfect, the allotted amount of time. I was afraid I was going to talk over. Um, so again, y'all, I just want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your life, out of your day, away from your families, whatever it might be, to be here with me. I don't take that lightly. I truly, truly don't. So thank you. And please know that you're in my emails. You have my emails. You have my number. I am a text or a phone call away, or text or an email away. Don't hesitate to reach out. And if there's anything that stood out to you, you want to share, maybe not on here, but in an email or whatever, please feel free to do so. And again, thank you all so much for joining me tonight. And I hope to connect with so many of you in the very near future. Y'all have a lovely rest of your evening. Bye. Good to see you, Christine.